Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to this session. I am Anish Gupta, the founder of National Law Training Institute, and today we have a very special guest among us. We have Gabriel, who got an All India rank of 23 in NLSAT 2025. You must all be thinking that why are we coming out with this video this late? But let me tell you, there is a reason behind that because even though Gabriel has an All India rank of 23, he was apparently an All India rank 1 in the Part B section of NLSAT. So we have the scores of Avilokita, who was All India rank 2, and she scored around 44, whereas Gabriel has around 49.5 in his Part B. So that is why we are scheduling this session so that you understand the approach of a topper for Part B. Over to you, Gabriel. Tell us a bit about yourself. Where do you come from, your educational background, and how did you stumble upon NLSAT in the first place?
Hi everyone. I'm from Mumbai basically, and I've done my bachelor's in economics basically from DU St. Stephen's. And NLSAT was actually before this I had done 2 years of UPSC, and of course I didn't work
Okay.
out. Yeah, but I'd been recommended NLSAT by a couple of friends also who had also given it, and because I had a few friends who did law, and a few of them
Okay.
recommended it to me. So in terms of pre-preparation or anything like that, say that like I found out about it just before the registration date, but yeah, that's about it really.
Okay. So when did you actually start preparing for, because you must be already preparing for UPSC, so you have
Yeah.
you have a stronghold in all the sections. Like you have a good strong over GS for Part A,
Yeah.
and then you must be writing essays for UPSC. So Part
Yeah.
B must come naturally to you. But when did you actually start preparing for NLSAT properly?
Yeah. Okay. So to answer that, like actually, because you like UPSC was kind of very close to NLSAT actually, so
Yeah.
I spent most of my time prepping for UPSC actually. So my NLSAT preparation, I'd say in earnest, probably started maybe 2 3 weeks before the NLSAT paper.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was a bit rushed. I will admit it was a very rushed. But the thing is, one thing I had done to make the part a bit easier is like I had actually gotten like a test series and all ready before that. So it wasn't that like I was hunting for papers at the last second. So that's something
Exactly.
I suggest everyone does. Like even if like you're busy with other things, at least get your materials ready because you don't want to waste time in the last few weeks hunting for papers and stuff because you will naturally get confused and you will naturally not finish also. So,
So, Gabriel, how did you feel about your preparation entering into the exam hall? Did you feel confident about your preparation, or you were like, if it happens, it happens. Otherwise, it's okay.
I'll be honest, I felt kind of confident because, to be honest, this is the last I gave this paper actually last year as well. Except
Okay.
then I had gone in blank. Okay, I had gone in completely
Mhm.
blank because I was more focused on UPSC then. So I'd already gotten a hack. Like I already knew what sort of like every paper has a sort of rhythm to it. No, like you have to finish this
Yeah.
in this much. Yeah. So I kind of feel like I'd gotten the hang of the rhythm for the paper. So I'd come in with a plan. Like I'm going to deal with section A in this much time. I'm going to deal with section B this much time. This much is buffer time in case something goes wrong. So I
Mhm.
think because of that plan and like I'd also done like a lot of I think I collected a crash. I think I'd gotten a crash course from NLTI. So I'd done all the papers. So there
Mhm.
was that feeling of there's nothing more I can do.
Got it.
So I was pretty
Yeah.
confident to walk in.
So, Gabriel, what do you think made the most difference in your exam prep? Was it your previous stint with UPSC that helped you the most, or you did something specifically in the last 2 3 weeks that helped you ace the exam?
I think, see, like obviously there's a crossover, like there's a certain carryover from like the UPSC answer writing skill set, but I feel like for NLSAT, like it was primarily my last 2 3 weeks. So basically, what happened was, see, one thing that like I feel like a lot of people do not like accept is that like you need to finish Part B because like there was a time where like you can score like you could get through with not finishing like significant portions of Part B, but I feel like
Yeah.
the competition kind of risen now. So that's not really an option anymore. So everyone needs to be able to finish Part B. So what I did was the NLTI mock test, which I purchased from you guys. So I actually timed myself a lot. Like for seven, each question I have to reduce it to about 7 minutes or 6 minutes or so. So then I can get time to underline on also after that. So I guess that, like, I mean, to be honest, I just UPSC answer prep them basically in a way. Like I should be able to
Yeah.
consistently finish them within 7 8 minutes. So that was the first thing I did. So, and then after that, I did like an entire section B. I tried two of those, trying to finish them completely within 1 hour, 10 minutes, basically. 1 hour, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 15 minutes. and then an entire paper, because fatigue does actually play a big role in NLSAT,
Yeah.
because these are questions you actually need to think about a bit.
Hmm.
Like there are no like everything you write, you will like double think yourself. So you need to like
Yeah.
deal with fatigue, which is probably the thing which helped most. Like I knew how, like I could tell how fatigued I was going to get in the paper, so I could like work against that basically.
Right. So, Gabriel, I sense a
And
lot of
yeah,
emphasis on time management. So, can you tell me the exact
yes,
distribution of your time, like 1.5 hours? How did you manage your time in the paper? And were you able to finish the paper on time? Because we have talked about mocks, but mocks are actually a lot different from the actual paper. Whatever goes in there is
yeah,
completely different. So, what was
yeah.
your thought process during the paper?
Okay, so one thing I have to tell you is that like when I was doing my mocks, I was actually finishing kind of like I had like segmented everything into like I will take 1 hour for part A, 1 hour plus 5 minutes, plus or minus 5 minutes for part A,
Hmm.
and everything else I would dedicate to part B. But obviously, like you said, in the exam, like stuff happens, bro. Stuff really happens,
Yeah.
and I ended up taking like 1 hour 15 minutes of part, 1 hour 15 to 1 hour 10 minutes of part A, and that really
Hmm.
frightened me in the paper. So
Hmm.
I was able to finish my paper luckily. So one thing I suggest people do is, first thing they do when they get the paper, go flip to the end, take a read of the essay, and then just sort of
Hmm.
choose them only. Choose what you're going to do. Like for example, I lucked out because I got the three language formula thing, and like
Yeah.
yeah, since I did UPSC, I kind of know like how to break that down. So in the back
Hmm.
of my head, while I was solving part A also, I was kind of formulating. Okay, first I'll do cultural factors, economic factors, so and so, feasibility, everything. So I was sort of planning it in my head, and so even though I didn't have that much time at the end for my essay, I was able to dash out like 2.5, 3 pages, 2.5 to
Hmm.
3.5. So that's one thing I suggest you guys do. First thing you do when you get the paper, before doing anything else, go check out the essay, see which one you want, because you don't want to be caught in like decision paralysis in the last minute.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and on top of that, guys like suppose sometimes like see for sometimes in part A, like there are questions you're not going to be able to get the answer to. Obviously, don't leave
Hmm.
them, because like don't leave them, but just smash out a few answers and just move on to part B after a certain point, because like it won't like I feel like personally finishing part B is more important than like getting that maybe one answer correct.
Got it.
Yeah.
Gabriel, so can you tell us a little about your GK strategy? How did you cover the GS, GK, current affairs aspect of NLSAT, and was it as per your expectation in the final paper?
Hmm. I'd say my GK preparation, I didn't do like for GK, I didn't do anything specifically other than the mocks, to be honest, because I was already doing UPSC and I was kind of overloaded
Mhm.
at that point. So, but to be honest, I feel in terms of GK, I could have probably done the paper better with more work, because the GK, like if you've noticed, the GK they ask in like UPSC, the GK they ask here is kind of different also.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like a lot of like the more current pop culture based questions I might have messed up, but science and tech was vaguely like there's only a few important things in science and tech like Majorana and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like in terms of GK, like I feel like mocks was the most helpful thing, because I feel like that'll at least tell you what exactly like what topics are more likely to come. I feel which
Mhm.
so like at least I went to the exam sort of with an idea of like, okay, they're not going to ask what I'm expecting. It's something that like more pop culture based essentially than UPSC. But GK,
Fair enough.
frankly, I feel like I feel like I'm not qualified to like guide people on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Gabriel, are you planning to go back to UPSC after 3 year law, or you'll stick to this field now?
I I kind of like the subject, so I think I might follow this actually. So far I like it.
Okay.
It's only been a month.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Gabriel, we'll come to the elephant in the room now. Since you are all India rank one, people would love to hear your analysis of the Part B section. Uh,
Yeah.
so I'll want you to talk about your strategy for Part B and how people can write good answers in Part B.
Yeah.
Specifically, I want to know whether they should prioritize writing more or they can go with like writing less but with an emphasis on quality.
Okay. So on the question of quantity versus quality, I feel like see at the end of the day, you need to finish, right? That is primary, because no matter how well you write that one answer, it's not going to make up for even writing another answer mediocrely, like more, like another pretty average answer. So I feel like, see, I feel like one and a half, like the sides which they give you on the sheet. I think if you like, let's just say the question paper's this long, the question's about here, right? Finish this side and go to half of the next side. I think that is sufficient, to be honest. And like some people have like really small handwriting also. My handwriting is pretty like funky, and it still sufficed. I feel like instead of thinking in terms of like how much paper am I covering or how much paper am I wasting, to be honest, I think you should think in terms of what points am I making. For me, I had a formula when I walked in. So my formula was basically I'm going to give 3 points at the beginning to support my argument. Okay, 3 points at the beginning. Then I'm going to provide a counter argument. And then immediately I'm going to counter that counter argument immediately within the span of like 1-2 lines. And then I'm going to conclude. And that is frankly sufficient, to be honest. As long as like they're all distinct points. You can't like write the same points in like different language and expect to get marks. But they have to be three distinct points, one counter argument, refute it, and move ahead.
Yeah.
Basically. And always conclude. Yeah.
So to summarize, you used to write 3 arguments in the side that you are defending or favoring, and then one argument from the other side, and then a rebuttal to the argument from the other side.
Yes, immediately. If you give the counter argument, it gives like the examiner, I guess, the feeling of like he is taking all perspectives, but he knows why his perspective is right at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And always,
also, Gabriel,
yeah.
I'll ask you this question and you can answer it alongside what you want to say. So a lot of people and assessors, especially at NLTI, also focus on taking a clear stance at the very beginning that throughout this essay or throughout this answer, I will prove why, let's say, B should not be liable for murder. So is that a good strategy, that taking a clear stance at the very beginning?
I think that's exactly what I did. I just wrote at the beginning, so and so will succeed in their action, whatever, whatnot. And then I gave 3 reasons, and then I concluded with the exact same thing because of the above reasons. I summarized it into like maybe like 5 words. Due to like I didn't really know any legal jargon back then, so like all I had was like everything, the answer keys with you guys. So I learned like 1-2 words, like breach of duty, negligence. Like, to be honest, I didn't know any legal jargon when I walked in. I feel like, and also that's one thing. Don't worry about like not knowing legal jargon to a certain extent, because at the end of the day, I feel like it's more about the clarity of your thoughts, basically. If you can express it, it doesn't really need to be in legal jargon, but if you can put it in, I'm sure like the examiner will like appreciate it. But I don't think they're going to be like, oh, he hasn't put in legal jargon, he's not ready or something like that.
Got it.
Yeah, so always clarify stance at the beginning, clarify it at the end, and also one more thing. All your points, just underline them, because it's something you can do to make the guy's life easier, and you want that guy to be happy with you when you're done with the paper. Just underline your main point, like for example, so and so is liable for this decision, underline it, and then explain. So and so liable for this decision, underline, explain. Because like, to be honest, like we all know what it's like to skim something. It's always easier when there's something like underlined, so you can get the main points out of it. Yeah, the examiners are human also.
Gabriel, do you think this is the right time to move to the question paper now? That you can take us through your approach on how you solved the paper in part.
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Okay.
All right. So, should I read it out, or will these guys like cover it?
No, I think you can read it out. You can skim through it, or you can just maybe tell the main idea and the issue in question.
Chalo. So, okay, ठीक. So, also one more thing, like everyone's preparing for this exam, like you really need to like bump your reading speed up, bro, because like you need to be able to go through these questions like 2-3 times. So like, yeah. So in this question, let's see. The main issue is this thing: who is liable for that accident that caused Subodh's death? Okay. So okay, I can't get answers from my people because I can't see anyone. But like, okay, so let's just break it down this way. In these questions, generally, there are multiple answers, but you just have to prove them, okay? So there are 3 possible answers if you think about it really hard. First, Nitesh is liable Other one is what's that lady's name? Arundhati is liable, and third is also both are liable. There's another answer which is like kind of hard, but like it's I think none are liable, but like I, that is also an answer, but like it is kind of hard to prove from my perspective. So what I'd first do is, so see, let's think about it. Think about Subodh. Let's go one at a time. Subodh, let's deal with him. What has Subodh done that makes him liable for this accident? First, he is clearly this thing, providing once again. So you know what? Sorry. Hold on. I'm so sorry. The name is Nitesh. So sorry about that. What has
Okay.
Nitesh done that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What has Nitesh done that has like led to this accident? Like break down liable to like the simplest thing. What has he done that makes him responsible? So first, he is using like the company vehicle for things which are like the company vehicle is supposed to be used primarily just for like performing company tasks, right? And yet, when Subodh asked him that like to drop him, he agreed to it. First, that makes him liable for getting Subodh in the vehicle in the first place, but that is like a relatively minor point. But let's move on. So first, he's broken company policy by allowing Subodh to get in the vehicle in the first place. Next thing, he's intoxicated. This is like clear violation, right? Third, this thing. And see, so you can say that like another counterpoint to the intoxication is that Tuko was traveling on the wrong lane side of the road and driving recklessly, you could say. But still, that does not remove the liability on Nitesh to essentially not be inebriated because he could have reacted better. He could have minimized the damage. Subodh would still be alive, maybe. Third, let's see. Yeah, he should. Frankly, like I think those are the main two reasons for Nitesh. Okay, so he could have told Subodh to go on his own because it's 5 kilometers away. It's not like he's traveling heaven and earth to reach there. It's any reasonable man can travel 5 kilometers without taking a lift from a company vehicle when expressly prohibited to from doing that. Okay. So first, breaking company policy, inebriation, done. Let's move on to Arundhati. Arundhati first. Okay, so first Arundhati knows that Nitesh is this thing taking Subodh home, and she has not expressly prohibited them from doing that, which means she herself is not even enforcing that rule, which is just basically recklessness and laxity. Okay. Then after that, let's move on. So Nitesh has managed to leave the company, and obviously because like Arundhati is Nitesh's boss, at the end of the day, whatever he does, she is liable for it, and she has somehow not. Nitesh and Subodh has left the premises at 10:30 p.m. and this thing. Arundhati has no idea that Nitesh is inebriated. That is recklessness, right? You have to check on the condition of your drivers. You can't just say they will manage themselves and let them go, right? So that's one more way to put liability on Arundhati. So I'd say the best answer in this scenario, because we were aiming for 3 to 4 points in our favor, is to say that both Arundhati and Nitesh are liable. That's how I would do it in the short time frame that I have. Obviously, I'm sure there's a better answer, but the point is finish it quick and get it done with and move on. So 4 points. Liability on Nitesh is from this thing, breaking workplace policy and inebriation. Liability on Arundhati is from not enforcing workplace regulations properly, and then on top of that, like not and negligence, like you could say, of not checking on her employees, and then also she's responsible for whatever like this thing Nitesh does really because she's his boss, and what he did was in the course of employment. He was on his way to drop a parcel, so therefore he's in the course of employment, and thus his boss is liable for whatever he does in that route. Now we'll have to give a counter argument. Tuko, this guy, he is speeding against traffic on the wrong side of the road. He is driving recklessly. However, we can say that this thing, but however, it's explicitly said that Nitesh could not apply the brakes in time, and thus this thing. So both suffered grievous injuries and passed away within a week of the accident. So basically, this thing, we have obviously that is a strong counter argument, but the point is to at least provide something to rebut it. It doesn't even have to be definitive. It just needs to provide something for like the examiner to think, oh, he has acknowledged it and he has provided a solution for it. So we have to say that Nitesh, given that he was intoxicated, could not dodge Tuko or could not minimize the damage. Hence, this thing, he is still at the end liable. There's another counter argument. You could say that Subodh himself is liable because he knew that Nitesh was this thing inebriated, and he still chose not to like prioritize his safety or to take the wheels away from Subodh, and thus he himself is liable. That is also another counter argument. But then I don't have a response to that, right? Because that is a pretty definitive argument if you think about it. So I am going to try not to acknowledge that because I don't have a counter argument. That's how I would do it.
Okay, Gabriel, how would issue framing look like in this question? Like, what is the issue that you would frame?
Okay, so this thing, the first issue, like the issue I would frame in this question is basically this. Let's see. Let me just word it a bit. Okay. So at the end of the question, if you've seen like the final paragraph, it's Subodh's wife has written to Arundhati seeking compensation. Arundhati has pinned the blame on Nitesh for negligent driving. Ibha is now considering against whom she should proceed. How would you advise in a case? So the main issue is who should Ibha, this thing, essentially implicate in these actions?
Yeah.
Right? So who should Ibha hold liable for the crash which led to the death of her husband? So the issue is, yeah, basically I'd say that is like a fine enough issue to go with. But then, so basically, like who is most responsible for that crash, for the negligence that led to that crash? I think that's how I would frame it, to be honest. And obviously, at the beginning, I'd suggest like writing your prayer. Like I believe that Ibba's, I believe that Ibba should this thing pin the blame on Nitesh and Arundhati, or whatever answer you want to come to. Because frankly, there are a myriad of answers you could come to here, and then end on that same note also, because of so and so reason, because of, let's just say, master servant liability or whatnot, because master servant liability, inebriation, recklessness, that sort of thing, and then neatly wrap it up. And I feel that's how much you can realistically do in about 7 to 8 minutes, to be honest. Anything more, like I'm sure there's a better answer, but our focus is get it done fast, and move on.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to discuss from this or from the sample answers that are given?
Yeah, perhaps could we go to the essay section actually?
Okay, of this paper only.
Okay, so
Yeah.
obviously, if you did what I did, you would have gone through these at the beginning, and this thing you would have already selected. For example, efficacy of using competitive exams as a method for selecting deserving candidates into various institutions and organizations, role of publicly funded institutions in broadening access to education, and importance of strengthening neighbor relations with the subcontinent nations for India. So see, essays ke liye, there's only one thing you can do. You can just practice, like become more aware. And second thing, you can do a lot of mocks, and that is like where NLTI is probably going to be like the best, like it's probably going to be like pretty good for you, because like the more mocks you go through for essays, like even if you do an essay that's sort of related to it, you will be able to cross apply it basically. So for example, if I were like giving this paper again, I would say that this thing, I'd say 2 is probably the one I would go for, because it's the broadest one, and it like I can finish it quickly whenever I need to. There's not like a specific thing I need to complete and then it's over. So I'd say 2 is a good one, because see, role of publicly funded institutions in broadening the access to education. You can make it first. You can obviously introduce, like, if you have a nice quote about like education or something, I'd suggest like you can start with that. That's like how we are, like, it's always good to start an essay on a quotation. An introduction to basically cover what you're going to say, so and so about maybe if you have some statistics also, that's great, but like that's not really necessary, to be honest. It's more of like a flourish, you can say. Statistics would be a flourish, but your main idea should be there, given that, like, India, maybe you could talk about India's demographics, about how important the youth is for the future, etc. If you have numbers, amazing. If you don't worry, basically. Just make sure your arguments are straightforward. And then you can, basically, when it comes to essays, in your body, when you're coming to your main points, I feel the most sensible thing to do is break it down into each. For example, education, there's a political angle to it, there's a cultural angle to it, there's a economic angle to it, there's a, what do you call it, pragmatic angle to it. So I feel like you have to break it down into these categories and give 2-3 points for each and move on. Because if like you, and also don't write, when I say 2-3 points, don't write in point format, please. Just write a normal like paragraph, please. So yeah. So I feel like if you write like structured like that, you'll finish your essay quickly also. Otherwise, like you keep going in like very circular logic, just be like next until you're done. Basically, break it into things and have an idea of which subheadings you're going to put in the beginning only, so you can plan your time. Other than that, I feel like, and obviously like end on a bit of a, I think this is a this is like the UPSC thing speaking, but end on a good note, end on a relatively positive note. That's like a bit hopeful, but like that like takes on into account everything, and that like there is hope, like like there's hope for the future. But that might just be like the UPSC like hammering in my head right now. Yeah.
Okay, Gabriel. Any last final tips, non-negotiables for NLSAT 26 aspirants that they must incorporate or do in their daily routine?
I feel like um, at every day you need to like ramp up your reading speed and writing speed. So perhaps like I'm okay. I'm not sure about the feasibility of doing a paper every day, because like in my last 2-3 weeks, that I think that's basically what I did.
Yeah, yeah. And there are
Yeah.
not so many papers also. In the one full year
Exactly.
course, we release
Yeah.
25 mocks. So that is
Yeah.
easier for you when you start in the last
Yeah.
1 month that you can give a paper every day. But it's
Yeah.
not feasible
Exactly.
if you're
And like
starting now. Yeah.
yeah. And see, obviously, I'm going to say corrections, but one thing I want to say specifically about corrections is what helped me the most was I got the answer key for the mocks, right? I sat with
Yeah.
the answer key here and my written answer here, and I compared point by point to see how are they framing, how are they like, because if you take like the three issue plus one counter argument versus like one rebuttal and then conclusion, it's basically what like the NLTI answer keys are, except they have
Mhm.
more points because they don't have like a time constraint to write the answer key.
Yeah.
So I feel like you really need to like, if you even if you just sit and just compare them and mark like one, I have 1 point. Do they have that 1 point? Two, I have 2 points. Do they have point number two? And just see what you're missing out. I feel like it's like that. It's kind of like running. You can't teach someone how to run. No, you just have to make them do it again and again, and eventually they get like really fast.
Yeah.
I feel like that's sort of like what do you call it? Like uh, you you basically just need to get your hands dirty a bit. Like just like sit down with it for a while and think about it. Like properly think about it. Compare
Yeah.
points, compare timings, see which ones are the points that are best, and just it'll come. It'll come. Don't worry. It's not like, don't overthink also. Like don't like,
Yeah.
I've seen people who write like really long answers, but like just because you write a long answer doesn't mean it's going to be better. Point, be sharp, finish it, leave. I
Okay.
think, and timing, yeah.
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 Thank you so much, Gabriel, for this session, and thank you so much for taking out time on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. to come live and give all
Yeah.
this guidance. I'm sure people will love it and actually benefit from whatever you have told them right now. So thank you again, and we look forward to hosting you sometime again at NLTS channel.
Sure, sure. I hope you guys found it useful. It was a bit rushed, but like, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Gabriel.
Thank you.
Enjoy your weekend. Bye bye.